Hi, Doug James from Deck Chair Property Investors. Carrying on from yesterday's first post in the series around why joint venturing and why I believe it's the best area or best method to start. And probably, if you're like me, who's been in property investing for, 12 years, I've been accelerating my portfolio, but I've been in property over 17 years. So if it's good for me, joint venturing at 17 years into property, and I think it's great for people in the first year or the first approaches, like I said yesterday, to getting into property, then it's probably good for everybody, whichever level you're at, whether you're at the multi-million area level or whether you're at the start out. But what I want to cover with you today is, or what I want to share with you today is joint venture contracts, because I'm often asked, or people say to me, that joint venturing, as I said yesterday, isn't actually equal. It isn't fair. It is usually stacked in one party's favour over another. Well, that isn't true, and I'm going to put some of those hypotheses, I should say, to rest on this little podcast or vlog. So what I want to share with you is that number one thing when you set out is to make sure that you're aligned. Make sure that you have the same vision, the same goals, the same time frames as your joint venture partner that you're working with. So whether you're coming at it from a developer needing funds, or whether you're coming at it from a funder looking for a developer, or whether you're looking at earn while you learn, so you might just be looking to get a return on your savings or your money and learn how to get into property, whether it's commercial conversions or whether it's HMOs or whether it's land developments or whatever it is. So the contract that you put together or have drawn up, or the joint venture partner offers you, I would always recommend that you go and get outside independent legal advice for yourself. So if somebody is saying, here's my contract and I this is how I work and I want you to sign it, my view is it doesn't matter whether they're 1 year in, 20 years in, whatever. I would always recommend that you get independent advice, legal advice on that contract. But when you read the contract through, there really shouldn't be too much jargon in there. The format to it is can be lawyer language led. I've read them in that fit for the layperson like me, or can be written with gobbledygook backwards and forwards with old English law language in it. So my recommendation is, one is you get a solicitor to look at it, or a lawyer to look at it, that is going to explain it and put it into English, real everyday English for you. But the point is, there should be no I think it said it yesterday, silver bullets, or there should be no way that one person out of the people within it can actually have a veto or a vote, a silver bullet vote over the other people. So my contracts, whether they are with 2 or 3 parties, will always say that there has to be not just a majority. So let's say you were doing a thirds approach. So you had 33, somebody else had 33%, and I had 33%. Well, I would state that 70% of the votes, rather than 66.6, would need to agree. So therefore, always you're needing to agree on the strategy getting in, the strategy that you're running, so how you're going to build it out, what it's going to deliver, and therefore the investment document. And I would also agree that you need to have an exit strategy. It might be multiple exit strategies, but you want to be aligned. So you want to know that if somebody wants to build to sell and you want to build to retain, then how do you get out of it? Can you buy them out? Can they buy you out? Can you or do you have to just sell on the open market? So what I'm pointing to is, if you have a ability that no one really can vote the other person out or vote the other people out, then you have to stick to the strategy. You have to communicate regularly. I would advocate that you have methodologies built into your process, that the investment document that you're investing against, or the strategy that you've created together with your joint venture partner, and I'll come into that in another vlog, which is the investment document in the first place, that you either read and invest via, or you put together together, so that becomes the document that your joint venture contract is relating to. So why am I sharing all of this? Because again, I want to put to bed that there is anyone who can, in effect, become the controlling stake, minority or majority, of a joint venture. Why do I think that's important? Because there is a thing called a deadlock clause. If you're all getting on well and you're all sticking to the strategy and your roles and responsibility within inside the joint venture partnership, there shouldn't ever be any issue. If you're communicating regularly, there shouldn't ever be any issue. But if you fall out for any number of reasons or circumstances change, people do unfortunately have financial issues, or people do pass away through the process, young and old, and all of these scenarios, people don't think today so much about putting in there what happens if you lose sound mind, a living will. What happens if somebody basically becomes say dementia, or even a hammer dropped on their head or a brick on their building site and they lost sound mind? Who's going to control their side of their business? So who's going to control their stake? Suddenly you might end up with a wife or another business partner that comes in that you haven't built any relationship with. Well, that can obviously put the strains on the joint venture. They're not liquid. Property is liquid, but you can only fire sell things and if you're building from the ground up, or even converting, and you're not through to creating the final product, you're not really at an exit strategy stage. So you're not in a position where you probably could sell at auction and get your money back. You might be 10-20% down at that point, rather than 25% margin up on your GDV. So what I'm saying here is there is a deadlock clause. That deadlock clause enables you to basically resolve the issue through, or in the middle, or even at the end if you did fall out. What does the deadlock clause do? Well, if you've got 70% of the vote that needs to be agreed, and there's two people, so 66%, well, they can't vote you out. You would have a stake and a clear say. But if none of you therefore can agree on the way forwards, what you do is you will literally have a opportunity to say, right, I want out, or I want in. And therefore, if I decided to buy out my other two partners, I would offer them a share price for those shares in the SPV. Usually I buy projects and property through special purpose vehicles, limited companies these days. But if you buy out via the deadlock, let's say that I was trying to be cheeky and the shares were worth £10 a share and I offered £8 a share. Well, that means that the other parties have the choice to literally buy me out by saying, I will basically offer you £8.01. That means that my chance to buy at that price is gone, and I don't get a second chance. So you can't rip somebody off. That's what I love about the deadlock clause and the deadlock process. So if I believe I want to buy everybody out, I'd get 3 RIC surveyors or 2 RIC surveyors and get their valuations on the project, and I'd put that forwards at the average price that they may say it is, or I might get estate agents involved. I'd get it properly, independently and rigorously valued, so that I could prove that I wasn't trying to rip anybody off, take advantage of them. They might be in a crisis situation, but I believe that if somebody is in a crisis situation, again, so say somebody had died through the process and you were looking, they wanted to get out of the project, to the SPV, they wanted to sell their share of their stake. Now, if you don't want to buy their stake out at the open market rate, and you can't agree on a market rate that is, open to you guys, so let's say it was 10% below, because you're taking over the whole project now and you're taking on a lot more risk. Maybe it's 20% below, but they still are happy with that, and that's fair and above board, and everybody's negotiated it for the reasons of the extra responsibility and the extra risk that you believe you're taking on. Then you can buy them out. But if you can't agree to buy them out, and neither party, as I say, is willing to, and you fire the trigger in effect in a deadlock clause by saying, well, I buy you out, and you're trying to take advantage of them, and they come back and offer you a penny more, they win that deadlock process. So then let's say that there is 3 of you, and the third person comes in and thinks, well, £8 was too cheap and £8 and a penny was too cheap. I just have to go in at £8 and 3p or 2p, and I've won it. So what's great about the deadlock process is it means you can't take advantage of each other. And therefore, if you look back through your contract or get a contract drawn up and make sure that it is clean, make sure that there are no silver bullets, there is no chairman with golden votes, and that therefore it is equal all the way through. Doesn't matter whether it's a 50-50, a 30-30, a 33-33-33, or whether it's any other percentage. As long as you say the majority, or more than the majority I should say, have to have a casting vote. That way you've always basically got an opportunity to find an exit strategy that is a joined up approach, and that's how I believe contracts should be structured. I believe you should be working, but you shouldn't be getting in, as I say in the first place, to a joint venture with anybody unless you know them, and that usually takes a good number of months to actually build a relationship, get under the skin of what they're about, find out where they've come from in their life, find out where they're going in the future, find out whether this project is their first, second, third, their 50th, their 100th. You know, speak to people that have done joint ventures with them before. Money isn't hard to attract to you, and money isn't hard to be put into deals. It's just making sure that you have alignment and ways and methods of solving communication issues or challenges, you know, like deaths in the process, or dementia, or, you know, losing sound mind, which people just don't realise can happen and does happen. It doesn't happen very often, but as long as you understand what it is you're trying to achieve together, you communicate regularly, and I mean really regularly. Go and do your site tours, go and do your visits, see stuff on WhatsApp as internal groups, and I'll come back to my next vlog on joint venturing and why communication in joint ventures is absolutely paramount, both from getting in, from the financial process. So, you know, are you on budget? Is everything to the time scale that you have outlaid? And therefore, are you going to exit on time? And are there going to be major delays? And that will cost more money to the project and the profitability. So I'm going to go through that in my next vlog. But I appreciate you all and appreciate your time. And I know this one was of interest to a lot of people. If you want to learn more about the joint venture contracts that I have and put in place, you can reach out to me. And my email is joindougjames@gmail.com. That's joindougjames@gmail.com. I do have my business one, which is doug@deckchairpropertyinvestors.co.uk. That's doug@deckchairpropertyinvestors.co.uk. But you can always get me on my social media feeds, being Facebook mostly. Yes, I do use Instagram a bit, but I'm on Facebook, and you can also get me via WhatsApp. So look out for my future videos on this series around joint venturing, and I'm about to put a book together with a couple of other people, and that will hopefully help you achieve what you want to do with joint venturing. We'll turn it also into a website with all these videos and vlogs on. They'll be on my YouTube, and they'll be on my social media feed. So you can find me always on Facebook, as you know. You can find me on my business page on Facebook as well, which is Join Doug James. So find me on any of those channels, reach out to me, and I'll give you any free advice I can. I was mentored all my life, and I got to where I am today by having great people and surrounding myself with people I say that are better than me. They are experts in their areas, and it rubs off on you. So if I can help you achieve your goals, please reach out to me, and yeah, I'd love to help you. Take care, guys, and speak to you all soon.